Light enters through the transparent tissue, the cornea, where then the iris, a muscle that expands or contracts to change the size of the opening or the pupil for light. Then the lens changes shape to focus light rays on the retina. And the fovea, the focal point in the center of the retina for sharp central vision, which then determines nearsightedness or farsightedness. And then also, finally, the retina contains sensory receptors that process visual information and sends it to the thalamus, which then sends it to the visual cortex, which then allows you to see. Hue, the dimension of color determined by wavelength. Short wavelengths are perceived as bluish colors. Long wavelengths are perceived as reddish colors. The different wavelengths of light result in different colors. Intensity, the amount of energy in a wave, determined by amplitude, perceived as brightness. Great amplitude equates to bright colors. Small amplitude equates to dull colors. Also, as intensity increases, colors are more washed out, and as intensity decreases, colors are perceived as darkened. Saturation, ratio of dominant wavelength to other wavelengths in the color. Saturation and intensity both determine the boldness of the color, if it will be light or dark in tone based on varying levels of wavelengths. The opponent process theory suggests that color perception is controlled by the activity of three opposing retinal systems: red-green, blue-yellow, and black-white. In the retina, in the cones and rods, these sensory receptors come in pairs. If one is stimulated, its pair is inhibited. This theory explains color blindness and afterimage.
Exit. I can't tell because my fovea is in front of my retina.
The pinna, which is the outer part of the ear, collects the sound. Next, the auditory canal connects sound towards the eardrum. The eardrum vibrates when struck with airwaves. The hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup are three tiny bones that concentrate the vibrations of the eardrum on the cochlea's oval window. The cochlea is a coiled, bony, fluid-filled tube in the inner ear that transforms sound vibrations to auditory signals. Frequency is the number of cycles in a wave for a given unit of time, usually seconds. Pitch, the perceived highness or lowness of a sound, is determined by frequency. The amplitude is the amount of energy in a wave. Sound funnels into the ear canal and causes the eardrum to move. The eardrum vibrates with sound. Sound vibrations move through the ossicles to the cochlea. Sound vibrations cause the fluid in the cochlea to move. Fluid movement causes air cells to bend. Air cells create neural signals which are picked up by auditory nerve. Hair cells at one end of the cochlea send low-pitched sound information, and hair cells at the other end send high-pitched sound information. The auditory nerve sends signals to the brain where they are interpreted as sounds. Conduction hearing loss is hearing loss caused by damage to the mechanical system that conducts sound waves to the cochlea. Sensory neural hearing loss is hearing loss caused by damage to the cochlea's receptor cells or to the auditory nerve, also called nerve deafness.
Do you know how to do this problem? Wait, what?
The four skin senses are pressure, warmth, cold, and pain. The gate control theory suggests that the spinal cord contains a neurological gate that either prevents pain sensation from traveling to the central nervous system or it lets it go through. It operates by differentiating between the types of fibers carrying pain signals.
You're not wearing green. You're not either. It's St. Patrick's Day. So hot today. I'm sweating. Hey Savannah, how long can you hold your hand in this cold water?
I don't know, maybe like forever.
Okay, we'll see.
Oh my god, let's go!
Does anybody have a pen? I have a pen.
Pain is triggered by some sort of damage to the tissue of the epidermis. It's your body's way of telling you that something's wrong. It can be influenced biologically, such as genetic differences in endorphin production, socioculturally, such as the presence of others and cultural expectations, and psychologically, such as your attention to pain and whether you've experienced it before.
The nasal cavity is a hollow space within the nose and skull that is lined with hairs and nasal membrane. The function of the nasal cavity is to warm, moisturize, and fill air filling the body before it reaches the lungs. As Katie smells the chips, the smell molecules of the chips will travel up her nose, and the olfactory bulb, which is a structure of the vertebrate forebrain involving the olfaction, which is her sense of smell. So Katie knows that these are the chips that she likes.
I remember this. It smells like the third grade.
Taste or gustation is a sensation produced when a substance in the mouth reacts chemically with taste receptor cells located on the taste buds. Taste can also be referred to as a person's liking of a particular flavor. Taste buds are any of the bulbous nerve endings on the tongue and in the lining of the mouth that provide the sensation of taste. The sensation of taste can be categorized into 5 basic categories: sweetness, sourness, saltiness, bitterness, and umami. The sensation of taste uses smell or olfaction to determine flavors of food or other substances. For example, in the Miracle Berry experiment, Katie can smell the sourness of the fruit, but the berry has altered her taste buds temporarily so that the fruit tastes sweet.
Kinesthetic sense is the sense of body position and movement of body parts relative to each other.